Welcome back to the League-Kempner House in Galveston, Texas. Today I'm heading back into that tiny attic behind the third floor bathroom. Hopefully you watched the first video on this mess and can appreciate the butchering that went on in this area. If you haven't watched that first video, I suggest you go back and check it out, but if you don't want to, here's a summary. Everything important to the structural integrity of this part of the house was cut and removed when this bathroom was added on. And by everything, I mean every single thing, all of it, cut out and removed without regard for the structural integrity of the house. So I have to figure out how to fix this abomination. I'd already spent a lot of time in here looking at everything that was cut, but I needed to be sure I really understood how this area was built. The first part of the process was just to continue removing everything that wasn't absolutely necessary and try to create some workspace and get a visual on the support structure. We also needed to be able to work from above and below. They're not in the... I think you just pry them, they'll break off down there. This work was just gross. It was so dirty. I can't begin to tell you how much dust accumulates in an old attic in 130 years. There's a lot of insulation. Look out, look out, look out. Hold on, I'm going to pull this insulation out. Okay, I'm going to go get a mask. Once I could get a better view, it was obvious there were even more things wrong in this area than I thought, and I didn't really think that was possible. A wall over there, but they cut a giant chunk out of it to put in the drain. Okay, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I have to think about that. That may be bad enough that we may need to pull all these walls down to look at it. And rebuild. We're going to have to rebuild from this brick wall over to that brick wall. You can't just wing it on structural things. And I hated to do it, but I really needed to take off the plaster above the door so I could see how that wall was constructed. It could either be a solid brick wall with an arched opening in it, which would be good because remember from the Garage Folly videos, brick arches are incredibly strong. And that missing chunk wouldn't matter. Or it could be that when they added onto the house, they just cut that wall out completely and spanned over the hole with a beam. In which case, having a chunk missing would be a big problem. Unfortunately, we took the plaster down and there was no brick wall or arch, so I needed to be sure what load that beam might be carrying and if it needed to be replaced, just like the lintels that we've been replacing above the windows. Fortunately, the brick wall itself was in okay shape. It just needed a little bit of repair before it could support the weight of the beam and all that load that was going to be placed on that beam.
That
one has to stay.
It can't
stay.
Maybe I need a quarter in the brick, right?
Yeah. Or is it level? Is it on brick? Is it on brick?
No, I'll put it the other one. The other brick.
Put another brick in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this isn't even on the brick. So you're going to go back in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So another brick here, another brick over there?
Yes.
Okay. Once all the repair was done on the brickwork and the wall, it was time to bring in the beam. We had more than enough room on either side for it to rest on the brick wall, but I wanted it to be as tight as possible. Just lend moral support.
¿Puedes o te ayudo?
Ah, no pesa ahí.
Superman. Oh my God.
¿Qué pasó?
Oh. 1/2 inch. Unfortunately, we cut it too long, so it didn't fit and it had to be taken out and cut shorter. I walked in and saw that they'd been using my antique iron gas log holder as their cutting station. I didn't say anything, but I guess they saw the horrified look on my face and immediately came up with an alternative way to prop up that timber to cut it. The second time, it fit perfectly. There you go. Once that new beam was in place, it was time to start looking on how to get the new joist into that tiny space. There's not a lot of room to work up here, and we needed those new joists to be as long as possible so they could overlap as much as possible with the existing joist. It's the same technique used to fix the floor in Uncle Lee's bedroom. It's commonly called sistering. We did some more demolition, and then there was just a ton of cleanup to do. It made a huge mess. There were stray nails everywhere that had to be pulled out because you need the new joist to lie perfectly flat against the old joist or you won't get the strength you need. Push it real hard. Kick that in this way. There were a lot of layers to remove. Directly below where we're working, there was a small hall that had been built to access the added bedroom in 1920. The original ceiling was 15 feet tall, and they didn't want the new bedroom to have that tall a ceiling, so there was the original ceiling and plaster, and then there was dropped down a second ceiling about 1.5 feet below that had lath and plaster. So it took quite a bit to demolish, and the old wood was heavy. It's beautiful, but very soundly constructed, and everything's nailed in place with square nails, so that's incredibly strong. So we did struggle a bit to get this area cleaned out. Okay, this is just laying here. This can just, you want to just take that down? Mm-hmm. You got it? And so is this one. So is that guy. Okay, that's much better. Do you want to leave this one?
Yeah.
Or take this one out? It can stay?
Yeah.
Is that enough room? That should be enough room to get out and work. The old roof was also in the way. Mask on.
1, 2, 3, 5. Okay.
Everybody's hacking and coughing. Sorry to get into it. I'm pretty flexible, but there is no way I could crawl in these spaces that Ricardo was going into. I might have been able to get in there, but I would have never gotten back out. I don't know how he does it. Yeah, it's tongue and groove too.
Ya subimos 3 de 10 pies.
Okay, I don't want to crawl over there. Yeah, let me just see that. So that's about. So that's a plate.
Huh?
Is that a?
Yes.
Is that a beam or a plate?
It's plate.
It's like a beam. This is solid. This is solid. Right here.
Here we have 2.
Over there, but over here, I'm looking over here where they put this pipe in.
Uh-huh.
That looks like a solid 6 by 6.
3 2x4s.
I can't see it from here.
2x6.
Well, that's a plumbing nightmare over there. What they do in here? I don't know. I don't think we need to mess with that, do we? If we have this and we bring up a support under here, do we need to mess with repairing that? I think we can just leave it.
This is support.
Oh, it's supporting that, but that's just the ceiling. You don't see any termites over there, do you? After another 30 minutes or so of contemplating this mess, I was finally confident that we had a good handle on what needed to be done, and we started bringing up the floor joist.
Bueno.
Can you lift it, go back towards him and then lift your end up.
Tienes acá para atrás. No levanta ahí la pipa, bro.
No, ya.
It was a very tight fit, and it took a lot of wiggling and maneuvering to get the joist up there, and then once we did, we realized it was the wrong size.
Es más grande. Vamos a tener que refilarlo.
Refilar los pedazos. Este es 9.5 y este es 12. This is 9.5
Oh, okay, so we're gonna have to rip it.
and this is.
Once it was ripped down to the right width, we ran into other obstacles.
I'm gonna cut the trim there and push down.
That's the original outside of the house, so that trim doesn't do anything.
Okay.
So I don't know if it'll come down with the crowbar or it needs to be cut. I'm going to deviate for a little bit of architectural mystery here. This little area really confused me. It's the outside wall of the house before the bedroom and sunroom were added on in 1920. It didn't interfere with the construction of the addition, so they just left all that exterior trim up. What's confusing about it to me is that it's painted this red color, which is normally a primer. But this area would have never been exposed, and it would have been always visible when the house was built in 1893 until the time it was covered up in 1920 when that addition was built. So I don't know why it was never painted white like the rest of the house trim. Or maybe the house trim was originally painted this red color and then it was repainted white after the remodel. The only thing I have to go on are some black and white photos and some old colorized postcards. In those pictures, it looks to me like the trim was white, so this may just remain a mystery that can never be solved. But back to the problem at hand.
¿Quiere que le la dé para allá al...
Oh my God. All right. You need to be in a circus as a contortionist.
Agua los ojos.
Bueno, quítense de ahí abajo, bro.
Thing to have. That'll work.
Yep.
Yeah, we can put a couple nails and then we'll probably have to get some metal strapping.
Yep.
Like hurricane strapping to, instead of just, okay, got, okay. How does he do that?
No, ahorita lo acomodo.
Yay! One down. Finally, that first joist got in place, and then it was on to number 2, 3, and 4. Each one made the workspace tighter and tighter and harder to deal with. Yeah, it needs something across to keep them from twisting. Do we have scraps from the ends we cut off? It's hard to have a sense of time when watching these videos, but I would say it took us 3 long 8 or 9 hour days to do the work you just saw in this area, and that's with 3 or 4 of us working together. We finally emerged from our cramped quarters. This kind of work is very glamorous, but someone has to do it. And now it looks beautiful. There's still a lot to do. Ricardo used a nail gun to make it easier to get everything in place, but we'll have to come back with lag bolts or screws like we did in Uncle Lee's bedroom video. It's also going to need some metal strapping, and one of the rafters hasn't been addressed, but it's a great start and it looks much better in here. I'm probably going to wait for cooler weather in the fall to finish up because the things that are left I can do myself, and it won't hurt to wait for better working conditions. I was going to film an intro to this video back up in the attic, but it was 115 degrees up there yesterday, so I didn't do it. And it's only going to get hotter. This work was done at the end of April when it was much cooler. June, July, and August are not the months you want to plan attic work in Texas. I feel much better about this area, and now I can move on to the next big problem because there's still serious structural issues to deal with. I think I said in the servant stair video that I had 4 big structural issues still remaining in this house, and this attic mess was clearly one of them. Now that it's under control, it still has a few more things we need to finish up, but it's basically not critical anymore. We're going to move on and start on one of our biggest challenges yet. And if you've been watching from the beginning, you know that's saying a lot. If you're new to the channel, consider starting at the beginning with the Season 1 playlist and getting caught up. Things will make a lot more sense going forward. And remember to check out the League-Kempner House on Instagram and Facebook for additional updates and news that you won't get here on the YouTube channel. And visit our website at leaguekempnerhouse.org for ways to donate to this restoration effort. Be sure and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. There's a lot of work yet to be done. As always, we appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you back as the work continues to save this incredible house here in Galveston, Texas.